Previously on the Diamond Headmaster.
Oh, I does not feel right.
Oh, look!
It's the Demon Headmaster.
How do you stop? Whoa!
Boy, if I had a missile, I'd blow your buns right out of the sky!
If the thing you have enjoyed most about this series so far has been its fairly simplistic scenario, well then you'd better dust off the old brain cells, fetch your scientist goggles and your insect repellent, because the Demon Headmaster is about to make its upgrade from children's literature to slightly older children's literature. In 1996, Gillian Cross wrote the fourth adventure of Dinah Hunter and Team Splat, and that same year it was the third of her books to be adapted for television, as The Demon Headmaster Series 2, which was broadcast the same year as Series 1. The first series, based on the first two books, was obviously filmed in '95, as it was released right at the beginning of the new year, allowing ample time for Series 2 to be scripted, filmed and edited for its autumn release. We begin with the conclusion of the first series as the octocopter containing Mr. Crocker's older and more tranquil brother lands in the village of Sarret. The demon thus wasn't blown too far off course, as the county of Hertfordshire is located not too far outside of London, which is where the first series was filmed.
Then he got an idea. An awful idea. A wonderful, awful idea.
The children have returned from their arson-related jail sentences, and only give a tad of contemplation over the fate of the spooky man who they twice foiled.
I wonder who he's hypnotizing these days.
You flicked him up, remember? Could be on the moon.
Please tell me that at least one of the children told their parents, or better yet, the police about the Demon Headmaster? And surely the sight of a helicopter clearly out of control swinging through the streets and skies of London would have made the headlines. Anyway, the Hunter family are on the move due to Lloyd and Harvey's dad being headhunted.
What's headhunted? It means he's really good at his job. This place asked him to come and work for them. Well, we swore Splat forever, and you can't break a swear.
Splat forever?
Oh, sweet Jeebus, will I never be rid of these Wallies? The family has really gone up in the world. A larger house, a larger income, and now Mrs. Hunter has teacups to rub rather than wood. But the youngsters are unaware that their hypnotic nemesis is not only responsible for their switch from city life to village life, but he is also watching their every outdoor movement, as he has put cameras on every street. The ex-headmaster's lifestyle has gone up too, as he has taken control of the village's biogenetic research centre, and instead of having an army of children at his beck and call, he has hypnotized the entire population.
I'm blind! No!
I'm Dr. Gill. I expect one day you'll be coming to see me. Most people do, sooner or later.
Note to self, register with a different doctor in a different village. And now for a TripAdvisor review of Sarret, read by Lloyd Hunter.
The village is a dump. Then why anyone should want to stay here? Or go mad living in this dump. There's nothing to do. Falling right off the edge of the map, if you ask me.
After his far from vital cameo in the first episode of this programme, Mr. Hunter is finally the centre of attention.
They're sending me on a course.
Oh, that's nice. When?
Tomorrow, I'm afraid.
Oh, Bill, but you've only just got here.
Right, going off on a course. That's what they all say.
Yeah.
That night, Dinah hears a peculiar sound. Oh no. It's Rolf Harris!
G'day.
Every thorn has its rose. The slimy rose, minus Jeff, who you may recall was a secondary obstacle for our heroes during their school days, has been summoned for a new assignment by the headmaster.
Not headmaster. You will forget that I have ever been that. I am now director of the Biogenetic Research Center.
Bit of a mouthful. I'm going to call you Big Evil Dick. Which could also be a bit of a mouthful. The youngsters meet seemingly the only other youth in the village, a rather nervous lad called Simon, whose hobbies involve badger watching. Fortunately, he's a lot more likeable than Chris Packham. He tells them that he thinks something disturbing is going on in the laboratory, as during one of his midnight photo shoots, the animals were upstaged by a creeper.
No. No. All right, that's better.
Which grew at an unnaturally fast speed. Before the children have time to put two and two together, they have a visitor.
Hello, Lloyd.
Well, look who it isn't.
Cilla Black? I'm pretty sure it's not her. Then again, it could also not be Shirley Bassey.
Funny, isn't it? Us all ending up here. You're not particularly pleased to see me, are you?
If they ever need an actress to play a female version of Devious Diesel, Katherine Wyeth gets my vote.
The prefects are the voice of the headmaster.
Did I really sound like that?
Worse.
Oh, but that was ages ago.
Very true. It's been 14 years since the first book. Unfortunately for your argument, this is the TV series, so it's only been several months. Because he has a phobia of Severus Snape cosplayers, Simon skedaddles, leaving his photographs behind, which Rose claims are obviously fake.
What's it like inside the centre?
It is very interesting. The director is a marvellous man.
Can't argue with that. It's not like she used to say the exact same thing about the headmaster. While Dinah returns the photos to Simon and learns that the villagers were all against the Biogenetics Centre until they faced its director eye to eye, Rose begins planting the seeds of sibling rivalry, which, much like the creeper, germinates swiftly.
You should see his room. It's absolutely amazing.
You've been to his house.
You might have waited for us.
Is Dinah not allowed to blow her nose without your written consent, Harvey? And of course she went to his house. Her whole point of going out was to give him back his pics. People can pick some bloody irritating times to cut their grass. Meanwhile, at the headmaster's laboratory...
Childhood is such a waste of time. So pointless. So useless.
Says the man with a vertical fish tank in his office. Dinah wants to join Simon for some late-night investigating around the laboratory and asks Harvey and Lloyd to come too. The brothers refuse, but change their minds once she actually sneaks out, and while observing their observations from a distance, Lloyd is attacked by something startling. Ooh, some of these episodes' endings are almost as chilling as the Animals of Farthing Woods cliffhangers. Thinking they have been spotted by the stormtroopers, Dinah and Simon run home, while poor unconscious Lloyd is taken away by the beekeepers.
Man can take charge of evolution himself. Can dictate the way the world develops. That is the DNA of a plant.
Boring!
We didn't know he was there. And he's not there. We looked everywhere.
Perhaps I better call the police.
No, I mean, wait a minute. I think I might have. I thought it was just a bundle of old clothes, but...
#suspicious.com.
Guys? I think there's a dead body there!
Oh, Lloyd. Is he alright?
The doctors are not sure how to treat the comatose Lloyd, as although the mark on his arm is similar to that of an insect sting, no insect exists that could cause such a large puncture.
But he will come round.
You'd think he'd have pulled this one in term time, not at the start of the holidays.
Yeah. Answer the question, is he going to die, yay or nay? Rose is so committed to making the hunters believe she is loyal to them that she accepts a lift back to their house, but offered not to sit inside it for fear of stinking it out with her conniving bullshit. As he had a handful of the creeper and his torch was still on the grounds of the research centre, Dinah and Simon don't need Poirot's assistance to deduce that there's a strong possibility Lloyd's body was dumped at the dump. Time for the doctor to make a house call.
Oh, hello. I knew we'd meet again, but I didn't know it would be so soon. What the hospital has asked me to do, Mrs. Hunter, is to take mouth smears from all of you now. Open wide. Good girl.
Fear not, spinsters plotting left-handed apricot treasons have arrived, and just in time too. With Lloyd KO'd for the remaining 4.5 episodes, it was vital the second most charismatic pessimist in this series showed up.
He could have died.
Shut up, Ingrid.
When Dinah starts to tell them about the dangers of the Harvey snaps.
It's all right for you. He's not your brother.
Well, to be fair... Using the DNA collected, Dr. Evil can now fulfill his master plan and create a superspecies, combining Dinah and Jub.
Dinah Hunter is needed here.
Yet another creepy cliffhanger.
Soon.
And that just killed it.
Eventually.
At the hospital, Dinah notices Lloyd's steady heartbeat bounce briefly as a fly buzzes near him, which nobody else in the room believes, as nobody else noticed.
I think you must have imagined it, Di.
I wish the flies I've encountered were as obedient as that.
It's a pity I have to depend on such minions.
Don't get me started on minions. Overblown, overly irritating, and overly cute.
Didn't you see the change when the fly went near him? No, I had my eyes shut.
Useless! And now even Dinah's mum via adoption is fed up with listening to her theories about the local laboratory that could be responsible for Lloyd's injury.
I think it might help. Really?
No. It's got to stop.
And to make her feel like even more of a reject, no one's mentioned her new hairdo.
It must be awful being so clever. Perhaps she hasn't got many feelings.
Rose criticises Dinah's interest in the creeper overshadowing her interest in Lloyd, but Splat have her back until she wants to tell them her latest info about the plant.
We're going to look at that tip. Look for clues. But Lloyd wasn't... Okay.
Playing both ends of the field, Rose then convinces Dinah not to bother going with her friends to search the tip where her brother was found, as she knows that that would be a waste of time. Get it? Tip? Waste? Ha!
Oh, it's hopeless! And we don't even know what we're looking for!
The Almighty has made her daily decree of logic. But they do find a notebook belonging to Dinah that Rose stole from her room.
You must have been there that night, and Lloyd was following you.
If I knew anything, I'd have told you. Of course I would. Wouldn't I? You know I would.
I thought the villain's plan was to get Dinah to the lab, not make her depressed because her family and friends hate her. Rose. More like... convolvulus.
Wake up! Wake up! Why aren't you waking up?
Searching Rose's coat, Dinah finds the remote the biatch uses to enter a secret passage to the lab, and gives it to Simon, who that night goes for a little expedition. And considering what happened to Lloyd outside the lab, she just signed the young man's death certificate.
Is Simon there?
No, as a matter of fact, he isn't.
Oh my god, how unexpected, I can't believe he got caught. Wait a minute, he gets a bed? Quite the compassionate psychopath at heart, aren't you, Mr. Demon? The hospital ask the friends to visit Lloyd to see if the sound of their voices will snap him out of his coma. A similar method that succeeded in awakening Looney Tunes voice actor Mel Blanc, after a doctor spoke to him as if he was a hair-shaped wabbit.
That's an idea. I'll get some. Or get Jimmy Savile to die.
Get Jimmy Savile to die. Enough said.
So messy, the world, don't you think? So random. Flowers, trees, birds. What are they for?
Absolutely nothing. Say it again now.
What's black and white and black and white and black and white? A penguin rolling down a hill.
And what's black and white and laughing?
The penguin who pushed the other penguin down the hill.
I doubt Gillian Cross would have made the missing piece of the puzzle a joke for the second time. But just in case, you may fire when ready, Mr. Gottfried.
I have to catch a flight to California. I can't get a direct flight. They said they have to stop at the Empire State Building first.
It's not working, is it?
Ah, fuck it.
The villain hypnotizes Simon to phone Dinah and get her to come to the laboratory. But she can tell straight away that he's in a trance.
At least I know you're at the centre. And listen.
You're fired.
Rose then plays a particularly prickly trick.
Your precious friend, Simon, wants you to go to the research centre.
Look, I'm not coming, get it? Sorry you're stuck there, but there's things I've got to do here.
Gets the sweet little sod back for saying,
At least I'm not adopted.
Where are the others? Tell me!
It is a pity you can't think of something. You're supposed to be so clever.
I hate to say it, but she does have a point, Dinah. You haven't actually tried phoning the hospital.
Perhaps we've been wrong about her all the time, thinking she was part of the family.
She is.
Well, that's not how she's behaving now.
One moment she's selling her family heirloom to pay for your computer. The next, she's telling you off for trying to solve the mystery of her son's coma.
You, Simon James, are about to witness the most important event in the whole history of evolution.
The resurrection of Rick Mail? Nope, it's the hatching of Dinah's clone, crossbred with a lizard.
Perhaps you should have a name.
Lizzie, perhaps?
Eve. That is your name.
Always wise for a villain to name their henchmen after the personification of the fall of man.
Tell me what you like.
I do not like anything. All things are equal.
Much like Dinah, whenever she was put into a trance, the completely emotionless Eve follows her master's instructions without hesitation, and has also been programmed to be as big a brainiac as Dinah, though far superior in the ex-headmaster's eyes, as she can survive on a diet of insects and lick an ice cream cone dry in 30 seconds. Phoning the Hunter house, he tells the very worried mother that he will be able to treat Lloyd providing he knows exactly what happened to him, and as they all suspect Dinah of leading the lad to his doom, Mrs. Hunter takes her there straight away.
I think it's him!
Think it's who?
The demon headmaster!
The four friends add up all the evidence Dinah has been trying to share with them, only this time they take the viewpoint that she might be talking sense.
What do you think of the director at the research centre?
He is a marvellous man. He is working for the good of the whole world.
We don't trust you. I never have.
You know what you and Simon and Garfunkel's the boxer have in common? They're both full of lies.
Ha! Got him!
Our heroine is informed that the source of her brother's illness is located in one of the lab's secret passages, and the only way to save him is to collect a sample of its DNA.
It's up to you, Dinah. I have no interest in helping your brother, you know that. It is you who have his life in your hands.
Have none of the doctors who are examining Lloyd detected that the mark on his arm contains the same type of venom you get from a wasp sting?
Oh, I don't think so.
Useless! Anyway...
First fetch me the lamp, and then you shall have your reward.
Armed only with an infrared torch, the girl wanders into the cave, followed by Eve, who has been instructed to prevent Dinah from escaping.
The contest begins.
I guess it suddenly occurred to him Simon might do that, as in the next scene the boy is back behind glass. Thanks to Rose's remote, Harvey and Ingrid have also entered the Tunnel of Terror, unknowingly pursued by a new creeper, created unknowingly by Eve, who, in accordance to the villain's plan, found a pod and spilt the seeds. Ugh. Getting car flashbacks. The children and creature find themselves in the lair of a buzzing cocoon. And for those of you who say the Demon Headmaster wasn't the scariest kids show on British TV, I say... Using sparks from a creeper-crushed camera, Eve starts a fire. But luckily, taking only a brief moment to ponder the presence of Dinah's doppelganger, they all escape. But the man in grey's final devious act is that, as with all his other genetically modified creations, he only gave the girl a 24-hour lifespan.
Save her! You must save her!
Nah.
I haven't been this sad since Craig Ferguson stepped down as host of The Late Late Show. What am I saying? That does depress me.
I can speed up or slow down evolution as I wish.
The Nutty Professor embarks on his 10th power-mad monologue of the day, choosing to overlook the fact that his experiment technically failed, as Eve didn't succeed in trapping or killing Dinah. And why haven't any of you shut that door? Have you already forgotten about the giant wasp? And the creeper? I knew I should not have worn my red socks today.
I don't feel so good. Well, he's dead.
It's my fault. It's all my fault.
You're damn right it is, you manipulative little shit. All's well that ends well. Except Mr. Hunter now doesn't have a job, so with 4 mouths to feed, the family is in more turmoil than this doctor's credibility. I guess it was just a great big wasp sting. Wow, I'm a terrible doctor. The Demon Headmaster Strikes Again is definitely a more highbrow tale compared to its predecessors, as instead of revolving around the corruption of the education system and politics disguised as video games, it involves intellectual things, like DNA and... science. Seriously though, Series 2 is the best of the 3, perhaps because it had an extra episode to allow its intriguingly mysterious and a tad dramatic plot to unfold, but I'm only going to give it 3 flies out of 5 Supergrass posters, because Lloyd and Ingrid were barely in it.
It's not the end of the world.
Actually, that's not true. Lloyd was in it a lot, but his pale, skinny chest was frankly a mediocre substitute for his snarky quips.
Imagine a world where childhood could be bypassed. What a beautifully efficient way of saving time.
And I thought the whole point of Senior Psychopath's experiment was to have her grow up immediately, i.e. transform from a child to an adult ASAP, not shrivel up and die before she's legally allowed to drive, drink and dip. Obviously, the man is completely deranged, but it's worth pointing out that even if he had created an army of Dinah lizard hybrids, in order to achieve his perfect world, he would have had to have killed everyone on the planet first, which I'm now realizing might have been his end goal of producing giant wasps. Speaking of the Big Buzzer, was its attack of Lloyd all part of the plan, or just a cheeky bonus? I understand that it was all part of his experiments, but was he also using them to act as watchdogs? Or did that one just happen to escape from its lair that same night the youngsters went exploring? It would have been nice to see Rose out of her trance for more than a few brief glimpses, just to showcase more of a contrast to her deviously oily personality. A cast member I didn't know I knew from anything else is Rowena Cooper, who appeared in one of my favourite 2 Ronnie sketches, and also played Alan Bastard's transgender henchman Norman in the first series of The New Statesman, a role for which only her surname was credited. But how will the dreaded director of biogenetic research ever strike again now that he's been beamed away? Until next time, viewers, this is Jeffrey Kitsch saying, Got you guessing? That's how I like it!
I don't fucking know what that means.
If you can hear me, open your eyes.